We have seen people on the far left, notably when they were firebombing shit all across Minnesota, 33 people murdered. And how many criminal charges do we get for this? When they firebombed a police station and forced the police to evacuate.
I don't like clowns. Let's see.
Today is not your day.
You've been sitting here with no knowledge of the specifics of some of these cases. There is a man in Brooklyn right now, I'm going to say it again, no charges whatsoever brought. He's been in jail for 3 years. For you to sit there and say it is good that he remains locked up is fascism. That is saying the hierarchical system of the courts and the government is just, and the process is all that matters. And I am saying perhaps 3 years is enough, because I actually have moral logic and an understanding of these cases. Hence, my position on January 6th has always been the people who have attacked police must go to prison. But 3 years is a time for assault on an officer. We have seen people on the far left, notably when they were firebombing shit all across Minnesota, 33 people murdered. And how many criminal charges do we get for this? When they firebombed a police station and forced the police to evacuate. How many of them who never showed up on that day are in prison for 20 years? Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th. And you are saying that man who his only crime was, quote, don't leave. That's his only crime. You think he should be in prison for 20 years because you're a fascist. You don't care what the facts are. You don't care if this is unjust. You only care that the machine state has decreed you are not to be locked up. And this is the problem I have with the left. They don't know the facts. They don't care about the facts. They view morality as a blanket government stroke of the pen, and every person, regardless of their crime, should be in prison for decades. I reject it outright. The people who fought cops should go to prison. They did. It's been 3 years. But when you've got people who are on misdemeanor charges for having walked into a building at 4 p.m. after the riot, and I know some of these people, they walked into a building for 2 minutes and walked out, and they got 18 months for that. I don't see you defending the innocent people who walked onto a public grass at a public building after a riot had been completed. You don't know, you don't care. You've taken a tribal position, and people are suffering.
Yeah! Oh, yeah!
Get him, Tim.
I date a woman. I got a girlfriend. I don't want penis.
Are you with the father of your child? Married currently?
Actually, yes.
So you're telling the truth that you're with the father of your child currently married?
No, I'm currently married, but I'm not with the father of my child. But he did just pick her up and drop her off. No. No, Saint. No, Saint. No, Saint.
I told you men are incapable of love. Stop trying to make them love.
Let's see how she likes it. On the other side.
Now we have to turn the mirror towards women. And what you find out is that in these dynamics, 90% of the discussion has to be on women. And I find that women have a lot of problems.
No shit.
I find that women are very, very narcissistic, and they do not realize it. I think women lack a lot of self-awareness, and how I've taken my message, because I've got a little comedic edge, I find a way to show women themselves in a way that not many people can get women to admit that they are wrong. I have a way of getting women to admit, damn, I'm a terrible person.
Speaking of
Narcissism?
Yeah.
Right? I've gotten women to see how terrible they are as friends, as relationship partners, women are terrible relationship partners. Right? But, you know, for me, it's about the truth. This is not me taking sides, because I believe that the world is in shambles. I believe that the communities are jacked up. I believe that, and all of this has to do with human behavior and how the sexes relate to each other and how the sexes relate to the planet.
In other words,
Women.
So it's not all on men. Men have their things that's wrong with them.
For sure.
I spoke about that.
But
Yeah.
the question I was going to say is that with men, right, I feel like as a man, we're held accountable at almost every turn, right? Your mama holds you accountable, your friends hold you accountable, everybody kind of holds you accountable. Do you see the same type of path for women?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
I think women are allowed to be, they're allowed to be delusional. They're allowed to not be disciplined. See,
don't forget.
No accountability.
give you an example. If a boy child is crying and a girl child is crying, if he fell and she fell, they're gonna look at him and be like, boys don't cry, this, that, and the other one. And they'll just look at her, that's what girls do, they're just emotional. Let them cry, let them do this. Well, that's bad, because as girls grow older, they never know how to control and govern their emotions. They're allowed to allow any emotion, anger, frustration, sadness, depression, no matter what, they're allowed to express it however they want to express it. I've also come to the conclusion that, well, let me back up, because everybody knows that I date women.
right.
And when it comes to me speaking about relationship dynamics, a lot of the rebuttals always say, well, lesbian relationships have so much more violence. They only say that because they're thinking about a relationship where a man might be putting his hands on a woman. They're not including the other side of the equation, where women are putting their hands on men and men are not calling the cops.
True, yeah.
Women are very violent. A woman will put her hands on a man. She will hit him, spit in his face, call him all kinds of names, and everything is totally fine.
Isn't that the truth?
Women are allowed to do this. And nobody should say anything about it. Now, these women they will be in these relationships and they will hit a man, and they will take that same behavior and they'll take it to a lesbian relationship. See, it's the same person, same behavior.
Right.
Right? But it's looked at as different because the man is stronger and he's expected to hold himself. But a lot of times, in a lot of these relationships, women are extremely narcissistic and violent. And this is what I have discovered as I continue to work with women.
And continues to. Date him.
And so what I realize is that women actually want men to be slaves. They actually want men to be their personal slaves.
Slaves.
They're slaves to corporations. Right? They're slaves to the military. They're slaves in everything that they do. Their whole purpose was for them to work for somebody. And that's what you see. The man then is a slave to his sex drive. And by a man being a slave to his sex drive, he turns around and becomes a slave to a woman who expects him to be a slave to his sex drive and her. So she uses that as a manipulation tool to try to get that man to do whatever she wants him to do.
You rule Sheba alone.
Well, here's the problem. Women don't live in reality. A lot of women are very, very, very delusional. And so they have these ideas about men in their head, what they want these men to be. It's like they got a movie and they have a cast. And there's a role for this knight in shining armor that's going to sweep her off her feet and worship her and only her for eternity.
That's not going to work for me.
You wanted to go out, now go. Yeah, I did. It's okay, Kelly. Come here, honey. Come here.
But we should.
Wanna come in?
It is a messed up world.